Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2014 CFL season preview for the Montreal Alouettes. We're going to see how well the Alouettes stack up this year versus the rest of the field. But first, let's take a look back and see how well they did in this year's CFL draft. The Alouettes had one of the better drafts this year, picking up some tremendous athletes to help keep the roster stacked with non-import talent. This draft was big on versatility with players like James Tuck and Mackenzie Sorrow. Tuck was a defensive lineman that's now moving to linebacker, and Sorrow is a big physical wide receiver that's now being moved to more of an H-back fullback role for the Alouettes. First-round pick David Folkholt, an offensive lineman, is currently in camp with the Carolina Panthers, but the guy that is the gem of this class, in my opinion, is defensive back Andrew Liu from Queen's University. Liu has the size and the skill to play out on the boundary as a cornerback, but is also physical enough to play on the inside, on the hashes, and near the line of scrimmage. He has a great chance to see significant time as a rookie because of what he brings to the table from both a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint. It's going to be weird not seeing future Hall of Famer and Alouette great Anthony Calvillo in the red and blue this year for the first time in 16 seasons. But the good news is that the Alouettes are in excellent hands with former Heisman Trophy winner Troy Smith, who helped the Alouettes to the playoffs last year after Calvillo went down with an injury. Smith was efficient and should only get better in his second season working with virtually the same group of receivers. Backing him up is Alex Brink, who put in some quality work in Winnipeg throughout the course of his career. A big battle for the third quarterback spot is between Tanner Marsh, who struggled at times last year, and former Kansas State great Colin Klein, whose running ability adds intrigue to what he can do near the goal line. The Alouettes boast a talented group of ball carriers and one of the most talented backfields in the Canadian Football League. Leading rusher Jerome Messam is your classic inside banger that's very tough to bring down. And both Tyrell Sutton and Brandon Whitaker are slasher types that are valuable assets in the passing game. But I think second-year player Stephen Lumbala is the total package and the most well-rounded out of all of the backs. He was taken in the first round last year and played sparingly in 2013, so look for him to have a bounce-back or breakout sophomore season this year for Montreal. And the Alouettes also possess good fullbacks as well that are pseudo H-back players that provide matchup problems in the passing game. Martin Bedard is a valuable player on special teams, but 2014 rookie draft pick Mackenzie Sorrow, in my opinion, can make an immediate impact as a rookie, being a former wide receiver. That'll just give him an advantage coming out of the backfield. Are there enough footballs to go around is the biggest question about the Alouettes receiving core, because it's definitely not the talent. Montreal by far has the best core of receivers in the game. With the return of two-time All-Star Jamil Richardson from a knee injury, it'll only strengthen this unit. S.J. Green stepped up in Richardson's absence last year and was the team's leading receiver, going over 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns. The play of Deron Carter last season was both impressive and promising for the future, as Carter got better as the season progressed and developed real chemistry with Troy Smith. Two young prospects that should continue to blossom are Brandon London and Ismail Bamba. London finished the season last year with nearly 300 yards receiving, and Bamba was a highly touted prospect who was drafted by Saskatchewan and is now ready to realize the potential that made him highly sought after in the 2012 draft. But the biggest name and impact this year could come from free agent signee Chad Johnson, who even at 35 still has plenty of football left in the tank, and wouldn't surprise me to see him have a banner year. Dave Stoller, the Wiley vet, was also signed as well, so it'll be interesting to see what impact he can have in 2014. And I'm also a big fan of Marty Gilliard, a guy that can come in and help out as a returner as well as his receiving skills in the slot. Armed with one of the top offensive line units in the CFL, only allowing 41 sacks last year, which was second in the league, the Alouettes up front are looking to get better in one aspect, and that's the running game. At center is Luc Bourget-Jordan, who's a two-time All-Star that was voted the team's best offensive lineman last season. Ryan Bombin and Kristen Matt handle the guard duties, and while they both excel in recognizing stunts and blitzes, they have to get more production in the running game. Left tackle Josh Bork is a perennial all-star, while on the right side you look at Jeff Parrott. He's solid but not spectacular, so you can see where the running game issue stems from. Both guys on the inside and on the right side, they have to get better, which is why you like guys like Pascal Bellarigian, Ryan White, and even 2013 draft pick Jake Petrowski. They not only have a chance to make an impact this year, but also start at some point during the season. The Alouettes are fine at defensive end with All-Pro John Bowman, who had 11 sacks last year, and Aaron Levere, who was a rookie last season that finished with 6 sacks. Despite being the constant focus of opposing offensive line protection, Bowman is still able to dominate and has been a model of consistency for this Alouettes defense for a long time. It's also tough to run against Montreal, who had the #1 rush defense last year in every category. They held opponents to only 88 yards a game and 5 yards a carry. Defensive tackles Alan Michael Cash, Michael Klassen, Scott Paxson, they do a great job of disengaging from blocks and making plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. And free agent signing Jermaine McElvin is back with the Alouettes after registering 6 sacks last year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So the depth and talent is here once again on the defensive line, so the expectation is high to build on last year's success. The Alouettes did a lot of blitzing last year at the second level, which helped them maximize the talent and the athleticism at the position. Kyrese Hebert, who's known as the Angry Bird, along with Chip Cox, combined for 21 sacks last year. So outside linebacker isn't a question with these two at the helm. The question is in the middle and with the depth as a whole. The biggest battle is at the Mike backer spot with 3 guys, Bear Woods, Nicholas Boley, and James Tuck vie for the starting nod. Woods has played mostly special teams. Boley is a second-year player, while Tuck is a rookie. So being unsettled in the middle could make it tough for these guys to replicate the 2013 output unless one of these 3 step up to put a productive stranglehold on the position. But keep an eye on rookie Stephon Robertson out of James Madison, who was one of my top linebacker prospects in the NFL draft, who could be a sleeper in the Mike backer race, or at worst provide excellent depth at outside backer. The front end helps out the back end, and that's exactly the case for the Alouettes having a very good pass defense in 2013. But the talent back there is also a major reason for the success. What a draft pick free safety Mike Edom was last year for Montreal. He was all over the football field, being effective versus the run, blitzing, even in pass coverage. The Alouettes have found themselves a budding star and a second-year player out of the University of Calgary. They're also strong at halfback with Gerald Brown and Billy Parker, those who combined for over 100 tackles and 6 interceptions. Cornerback Jeff Tisdale had an all-pro season last year for the Alouettes, leading the team with 7 interceptions, fully locking down his side of the field. The biggest battle this year will be at the opposite cornerback spot with Michael Carter and Ed Gainey, who both are excellent at special teams, must fend off second-round pick Andrew Liu out of Queen's University. Liu is a mirror image to what Tisdale is on the opposite side, so it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. Another versatile safety to keep an eye on is Marc-Olivier Brule, who is another excellent blitzer for the Montreal Alouettes defense. From coverage units to kicking, the Alouettes have excellent special teams. Kicker Sean White has gotten better each and every year and can not only hit with distance but accuracy as well. White also excels as the team's punter, where he averaged 41 yards a punt last season. The return game will be handled once again by Tyron Carrier, who scored on both kickoffs as well as on a punt return last year. So overall, this is an A+ unit for the Alouettes. The reason for optimism for Montreal is the fact that they have a young, exciting offense with great receiving talent and also talent in the backfield that just has to be utilized. The quarterback is a young, dynamic player in Troy Smith, and defensively, they're strong at every level, D-line, linebacker, as well as in the secondary. So there's a lot of reason to be optimistic if you're a Montreal Alouettes fan. The cause for concern, the inconsistency with the staffs. Already they've gone through a coach in a year, and now they've replaced the offensive coordinator. They have to get more consistency from a coaching standpoint in order for this team to really take that next step and get to the Grey Cup. The road to the Grey Cup for the Alouettes goes as follows. Number 1, quarterback Troy Smith has to take that next step in year 2, along with that young receiving core. If they can take the next step as an offense as a whole, they can do great things. And the defense has to stay aggressive all year long. Remember, they were able to stop the run very well. They were tops in the league. Their secondary is very good. They can blitz with their linebacking core led by Kyrese Hebert. If they can stay aggressive, again, they'll find themselves in the thick of the Grey Cup race. And the running game must get better from a production standpoint. They have to start averaging 110, 120 yards a game in order for this offense to fully realize its potential. I have the Alouettes finishing first in the East Division. This is a very talented team, top to bottom, offense, defense, as well as special teams. And I think that offense will take the next step. Defensively, they'll stay stout and aggressive at every level. So I look for these guys to be in the thick of the Grey Cup race at the end of the season, but I do have them finishing first in the East. And I also want to give a huge shout out to CFL fan forums for always showing football game plan support.